welcome back. Today I am obviously in my kitchen. I am about to make dinner and I really also wanted to make a video tonight and I didn't really have time to do both things separately, so I thought I would do both things together. I have been kind of toying with the idea of doing some kind of like weekly check-in. This idea is 1000% stolen from Sabrina, from Bookish Sabrina. I really love her channel and she does a Friday Reads video every Friday, obviously, where she talks about the books that she's been reading over the past week. She talks about books that she's DNF'd, books that she's currently reading, books that she's going to start. I think she's even talked about books that she's bought in the past. And I just think that this is a really great idea and something that I want to start doing for myself because I don't really talk about books that I DNF in my monthly wrap-ups. I really don't ever talk about my DNFs at all. Also, sometimes it's nice to talk about books as you're reading them, or like talk about your thoughts as you're like part of the way through a book, but obviously not film like a full reading vlog or whatever. Credit to Sabrina, who I also think got this idea from other people. Obviously, like doing some kind of like weekly roundup or like Friday Reads type of thing isn't really a new concept. It's been going on for a really long time, but I just really like the way that she does her Friday Reads videos. And so I'm going to try to do something kind of similar. Today is October 12th. So I'm going to be kind of talking about everything that's happened in the entire month of October so far. And then I'm going to try to do these weekly, and I'm not really sure if I'm going to do them middle of the week or on the weekends. I haven't really completely decided, but this week I'm going to be posting it on Wednesday, obviously the 13th. So you'll be seeing this the day after I film this video. But I'm also going to make dinner because I am in the mood for dinner. Well, it's dinner time, so obviously I'm in the mood for dinner. It's cooler outside today, and I was driving home from work, and I was like, you know what? I am really just craving soup. So I went to the store and I got a bunch of stuff to make soup, and so I am going to make soup while I talk about the books that I've been reading over the course of the month so far. So I got an onion that I'm gonna chop up. And it's all gonna be happening down here, and I'm gonna be looking down the whole time, but I'm gonna talk to you about books. So let's start with books that I've DNF'd so far in the month of October. I actually did bring the books with me to the kitchen so I could talk to you about them. So at the beginning of the month, I decided to start reading Miracle Creek by Angie Kim. I just talked about this one in my end of the year TBR or end of the year book tag video. This is a mystery. It's like a courtroom mystery about this, I think they're Korean family. They own a business, like it's called a miracle submarine, and it's basically kind of like a hyperbaric chamber for people who have things wrong with them. Their biggest clientele basically is like kids with like autism or like cerebral palsy or something like that. And at the beginning of the book, you find out that their miracle submarine has exploded and there's a trial happening. They think that this woman, this mother of one of the children that was a regular attendee of this, or like a regular user of this miracle submarine, caused the explosion to like rid herself of her son. And it's told from a bunch of different perspectives of different people that were involved in this incident and were in this family. And I just couldn't read it, to be honest. I tried to read it earlier this year, back in, I think, beginning of the summer, and I kind of chalked up my not wanting to read it then as like I was in a bad reading space. Like I hadn't really been reading a ton. It wasn't grabbing my attention, and so I decided to put it down to read something else. And I decided to like try to get back to it because it was on my 5-star predictions for 2021, my 5-star 2021 TBR. And I got like, I think 70 pages in the second time, and I just couldn't do it. I was kind of bored, honestly, and I'm sure that if I had continued on, there would have been a lot of really great commentary on like being an immigrant in America. That was a big part of what I did read, was talking about like the wife talking about how she felt like moving to America and raising her daughter in America and stuff. And so I have no doubt that there was probably some great commentary on that. But the problem I had with it is, well, one, it just really wasn't grabbing my attention. And I know it's a little bit more of a literary type of story. It's not really like a fast-paced thriller, but I still, to a certain extent, need to be like grabbed by the story, and I just wasn't. And then there was this one character who in his first chapter, like the first chapter that he narrated, he talked about like forming some kind of attachment with the Korean family's daughter and hoping that she liked him. And she's like a 16-year-old girl at this point, and it was kind of creepy. I went on Goodreads and I read some reviews, and people said that like that was never really addressed later in the story, and that there was maybe an inappropriate incident that occurred, and I just am not interested in reading that. It's not alright, and I don't want it to come across as alright, but it would be one thing if that happened and it was addressed or something later in the book, but just going off of what I read on Goodreads, it just didn't really seem like that particular thing was ever addressed, and I was just uncomfortable reading it. So I decided that I was going to put it down, and I don't think I'm going to pick it back up. I wish that it was different because I really did think I was going to like it, and maybe if I had stuck with it, I would have felt differently about it in the long run, but I was dreading reading, and I kept putting it off, and I just decided it's just not worth it. Like, it's not worth it for me to put myself through reading something that I'm not enjoying. For as crappy of a reading year as I've had, I'm just not going to put myself through that. So I put it down, and I'm probably gonna just unhaul the book, because if I decide to read it in the future, or if I change my mind or whatever, I'll just get it from the library. So yeah, unfortunately, it's my only DNF so far of my 2021 TBR, and I've pretty much liked everything that I've read off my 2021 TBR, so I'm not like mad. I mean, I'm sad that I am DNFing a book, but I'm okay with it. Ultimately, I'm glad that I made that decision. And if it's your favorite book, because I know a lot of people do love it, I'd be interested to know like what about it you like, because I'm sure that there are some redeeming factors. I just couldn't find them. And that seems harsh, but it's the truth. My next DNF, I think, is going to be a bit controversial, because I honestly picked this book up thinking I was going to absolutely love it, and that I was going to be sucked in, and the story was going to be great, and I'm just so confused. They Never Learn by Lane Fargo. This is a mystery thriller type of story about a woman who is basically a serial killer. She is a professor at this university. The very opening scene of the book is her killing a student who took advantage of one of her female students, or a female student at this university. The whole book, I think, is about her finally like working her way up to her ultimate kill, which is this other professor at the university. And then there's a second storyline about this freshman at the university who befriends her roommate, who then gets like assaulted at a party, and she decides to seek revenge. I read like 100 pages of it or so. This book has been all over BookTube, like so incredibly hyped. Everybody that I've seen reading it has loved it, rated it 5 stars, like it's best thriller, and I don't understand. There is a big reveal about the like midway through this book. First of all, I should say, I did not read to the midway point. I stopped reading, like I said, about 100 pages in. Then I kind of like read some reviews online, because I just wanted to see what other people were saying, if there was anybody else that was feeling the same way about the book that I was feeling. And I then decided to just kind of like jump around in the book a little bit, like skip to other parts, just to see like if I could figure out what exactly the reveals were going to be. Because after I read the very first chapter of this book, I made this prediction. Once I read the reviews online and I skipped ahead and I read around, I realized that my prediction about the big reveals of this book were 100% accurate. Like, I had guessed everything, and that was after 3 pages of the book. And I don't really read a ton of mysteries. I mean, I do read a lot of mystery thrillers, but I don't read so many that I basically can predict every plot twist in a book ever. Like, sometimes I guess it and sometimes I don't. But I think if you have even like the most basic knowledge of mystery thrillers, then you can guess the twist. You can guess the mystery, like the big reveal that happens in the middle of the book. And I saw a ton of people on Goodreads saying that they were so surprised and they never saw it coming. I just don't know how, because the author doesn't do a very good job of being subtle about the reveal. If you have ever read even one thriller in your life, I feel like you can guess the reveal of this book. Maybe because I just really was not enjoying the book and I was having a really bad time reading it, that I feel this way, because I've seen some reviews of people that do read a lot of mysteries say that it shocked them. I just am confused, I guess. Also, the writing in this book was really bad. I don't really know how to describe it. It just is bad. I just didn't like it, and I'm very shocked that it's so popular, because I really don't understand why. And I'm really sorry, because I know a ton of people love this book. I've seen so many people say this is going to be on their favorites of the year, and I'm so happy that you loved it. But I genuinely want to know what about it you loved. I genuinely want to know what the redeeming qualities of this book were because I couldn't find any. Okay, I changed up the angle because I'm about to start the soup. I got the soup pot here to talk about the last book that I am currently reading, and that is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Also on my 2021 5-star predictions TBR, and I'm having much better luck with this one than I did with Miracle Creek. Thank God. This is a very popular book because Leigh Bardugo is a very popular author. So pretty much everybody has read it, or is planning on reading it, or knows about it, what have you. I'm finally getting around to reading it after it being on my TBR since 2019, and I'm really liking it. The main idea is that the main character, her name is Alex Stern, Galaxy Stern, and she is like the keeper of the Yale secret societies. You find out at the beginning that there's all these societies at Yale, and it's full of like magic. They like do magic and stuff. I guess they're called like the eight houses or whatever, and she is part of the 9th house that regulates and like basically like monitors these other houses. The book opens with a scene that doesn't really make a lot of sense at first because she has just come back and something has happened and she's injured, and you don't really know like what exactly has gone down. And then it flashes back and forth in time between a couple of different storylines, and you get to meet her mentor, whose name is Daniel Arlington, or Darlington as he's called in the book, and he's like the one that is training her to like take over as like the go-between for these societies. And you find out at the beginning of the book that he's gone missing, and Alex thinks she knows where he's at, or she thinks that she might be responsible for him going missing, but she's not 100% sure what exactly has gone down. And so it's all about them like trying to figure out what happened to her mentor, but also a girl has just been murdered on the campus, and she's investigating because she thinks the societies might somehow be involved. And it sounds maybe a little bit complicated, and maybe it is a little bit more complicated than it needs to be, but I am really liking it. I like Alex as a main character. I like the little flashback scenes that we get between her and Darlington. I'm interested in the mystery. My only real problem with it is that the pacing is a little bit weird. Like, I'm about 60% of the way through. I'm on chapter 17, I think, and things are just now kind of starting to like really go down. We're learning more about the mystery of Darlington going missing. We're also learning more about the mystery of this dead girl, and now there's even more layers being added to the story. It's taken a long time to get there, and we still haven't even gotten to where the book starts. Like, the prologue is happened I think in sometime in between these two timelines, and we haven't gotten to that point yet. So I just think it's a little bit slower paced, very like character driven, but I am liking it, and I do want to continue on, and I would like to finish it hopefully tomorrow. Honestly, I'm hoping I can finish it tomorrow. So I am liking it, but I want to know what is going to happen. I want to know how it's going to conclude. I will say, if you are thinking about reading, just be cautious because there are like some major trigger warnings for sexual assault. There's a pretty, not I wouldn't say like super graphic, but it is on page assault scene in the beginning. And that does kind of explain Alex's character. Like, that's how we kind of get to know her a little bit more, but it is graphic. It does happen on the page. So just be wary. This is not like Shadow and Bone or Six of Crows. This is much darker, but it's good. The writing's good, and the characters are interesting, and I am interested in it. I don't know that it's feeling quite like a 5-star read, which I'm a little bit bummed about just because it is on my 5-star TBR predictions, but it is really good. And I'm glad that after DNFing 2 books in a row that I'm finally reading something that I'm liking. So that's my reading so far in October. Honestly, I don't know what I'm gonna read after I finish Ninth House. I still have a couple books on my 2021 TBR that I wanna get to, but I'm really just not sure what I'm gonna be in the mood to read. I guess that's the point of this video, or like this video series, is that next week you'll be able to find out what I decided to read after I finished Ninth House. So I guess that's really it for my little like weekly update. Like I said earlier, I don't really know if I'm gonna keep doing these like on Wednesdays or if it's gonna be a weekend thing. This week it's for Wednesday, but I might like wait and do the next one like next weekend and do another like kind of 10-day wrap up. I'm not really sure. I like doing this. It's kind of a chill, and I kind of liked doing it while I was cooking dinner. It was just like I got to talk and I got to make dinner, and I feel like it was a I hope it turns out good. We'll see when I go and edit it in a few minutes. But I don't know, I like it, and I think I'm gonna keep doing these at least for a little while just to see how I feel about them. Let me know some of the books that you are currently reading. I'd really love to know what like the next book you're gonna pick up is, or what the book you're reading now is and how you're feeling about it. Let me know all those things. Also, let me know if you read any of the books that I mentioned in this video and what you thought about them. I really would specifically love to know if you enjoyed They Never Learn. I would love to know why. I'm not like being like shady or anything. I just really genuinely want to know what you love about it, because I don't get it. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.